we need his story, which leads on because he did some stuff on this as well as you did.
Yes.
Again, can you tell me about these girls? Great looking girls at the time. They had a great album, some really good up-tempo tracks on this. Are You Available? Come and Get It. Some of my favorites. They're New Jack to me. I know you probably, but they fit in a New Jack set to me.
Yeah. You know what's funny? They were also signed to MCA Records, aka, also coming from Lil Silas. Lil had such a great amount of talent over there at MCA. They were just popping, man. Mm-hmm. And again, Lil called me and says, "Hey, we need a couple of bangers, from you." And they were really talented, young, could sing, great. Stacey and Kimmy go, "Wow, that's going back, man."
People who collect this stuff, we've just, we just because at the time there was obviously no internet. You might see a review in a magazine, or you might hear the record on the radio, and that was it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of Callaway. I believe you did some stuff with Callaway.
Yeah, they had a song called "I Want
to."
They had a #1 record called "I Want to Be Rich."
That was huge at the time. I do remember that being huge at the time.
Well, I was in the studio in Glendale, California. I was actually working with Angela Winbush.
Wow.
And they were in Studio A. I was in Studio B working with Angela. I did a song on her called "Treat You Right." And I just happened to walk by and I saw Reggie and Sino in the studio, and they go, "Hey, you're just the guy we were looking for. We need some synth parts on this song, man." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I walked to the studio and I said, "Play it back once," played it back, go ahead, run the tape. Did it one take, and then I had to leave and went back to my session.
I mean, while you were doing all these bits, was you actually signed to Atlantic by then? Was you getting calls, come produce this, on this? What was going on?
Yeah, I was signed with Atlantic. Yes, at the time, I was signed with Atlantic.
Wow. Who else? Again, you worked on Kool and the Gang.
Oh yeah! Wow, man, dude, man, you're pulling up some archives.
Raindrops. Big, again, forgotten track. This story about Spread My Wings, about you, the version you didn't get used.
It was,
Right, all right, hold on, right? Because I've got the CD single here.
Yeah.
It says on this CD single, it says the original mix edit on this CD single. Would that be your mix? No.
It's the original version, but it was not mixed by me.
Right.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
So
these CD singles, they never came out properly, did they? Were just sent to radio. I figured
just radio
mix on there. I mean, this was a bit later on, going into the 90s, but Vesta, I love this woman.
I love Vesta.
You just posted a video about her, didn't you?
I did. That's really funny that I just posted her because, today is my Happy Vesta Day, so I
Was it her choice to do Outstanding, or was it something you suggested? The cover of Gap Band?
Actually, that was her idea. We were in the studio. I was recording some songs for that particular record. We did about 4 or 5 joints that were just killing, man. That were just really nice. And she says, "You know what?" She says, "I always wanted to do, a remake of Uncle Charlie's song, with Outstanding." So I said, "Well, let me come up with a vibe for it." And she said, "Well, I don't want it to be like the original, of course." I said, "Well, no, you're talking to the right guy. I'll flip it." So I flipped it, and then again, the same thing happened to me. What happened with True happened to me on that particular project. I did the song, I did the mix, and then the guy at that time says, "Oh, this is great, but I want to make a street version of it." So he totally went in, remixed the song, totally not anything that I did. And he was about to put on here, produced by me, Chuckii. And I'm like, "Bro, if you don't take my name off that record right now and change it and put your name on it, then I said, we're going to have a problem. So I had to make them change it because it was totally like not anything that I did on the mix. And they totally did not put my mix on the record.
Wow.
Another one. Yeah, record companies, those A&R guys back then were really shady, man. Super shady. You know, they wanted to get their hands on the pie or to get a piece of the cut any way they can. But again, I had to assert myself because they would have never done that with like Teddy or Jimmy Jam or Terry Lewis or anybody of that nature. But yet you want to do it to me? No, I command a little bit more respect than that. So you're gonna have to change that, partner. You're gonna have to change those credits and put your name on it. And yeah, so
I mean, vocally in the studio, she's got an incredible voice.
Oh,
is it like being in the studio and listen to her putting her vocals down?
Her vocals, man, she is so amazing. Like I literally of that song on Outstanding, we did 5 takes.
Wow.
And the first one, I was ready to go. I was like, the first take that you hear on that album, well, my mix. Actually, my mix, I don't know somebody posted the original mix that I did on Vesta on YouTube. So it's actually there. The mix that I did is on there. It's not the one on the album because the album is the other guy's mix. But that mix that you hear was her very first take. And she didn't stop. She just said, let me sing it all the way through. And that's the mix that the version that you hear was that one. And I was good after that. I said, okay, all right, Vivi. I used to call Vesta Vivi. I would say, Vivi, that's it. Let's shut it down. She's like, no. She's like, no. Let me do a couple more. I'm like, no, Vesta, that's it. But she wanted to do 4 more. And I ended up using that first one. And she was happy with it.
But for those of us who aren't musically inclined, what does that mean by mix, different mix? Because I guess...
Well, a mix is basically like me sitting down with the engineer and telling them like, okay, these are all the parts that I produced and that I wrote and that pretty much I tell the engineer sonically what I need. Like I need a little bit more of this, a little bit more of the drums, or I need less of this, or put a little bit more high end on the vocals, or lush this out. Don't make this too, bring up the snare, turn down the kick drum. So I'm basically mixing the actual record. So when somebody comes in and takes the tracks that I made, they might completely change the entire track and say, oh, we're going to get another producer to come in and do a whole nother version, which is what they did for the video version of Spread My Wings. That wasn't my mix, actually. It was my vocals and some of my production, but that was Clark Kent who actually did the remix for the video. That I was cool with because it was a total, that was great. I enjoyed that. I loved it. But when my manager told me like, oh no, Chuckii, they're going to use your mix for the album, but for the video, they're going to use their street mix. I'm like, okay, cool. So that was actually the downfall of my manager at that time because he told me they're going to use your mix. And when the record came out, they used this other guy's mix. So I'm like, dude, just give me your word. If you say what it's going to be, it's going to be. And it wasn't. So that in itself, see, us as producers and writers, this is all we have. This is our integrity, is our music, is our sound. That's all we have. We have nothing else. So if you go and change that without our consent or the record company allows to do that, then, that nothing else matters at that point.
I mean, so I say, apart from mastering, could you do a whole song up to producing and the mix? And then would you have to send it off for mastering, or could you actually master the record as well?
I could master if I wanted to.
So you could do the whole thing then?
Do everything.
Wow.
I'd mix, master, do all the music. I do everything. So, but just by the sake of, okay, I'm signed with to work with the record company. The record company actually has to say so and the power to do what they want. At that time, yes, of course I could master, but when you do an entire record or an album, you want to keep it consistent. So of course, you would have to bring a mastering technician to come in to master the entire record so it so it's consistent throughout from the first song to the last. I understand that and I get that. So I had no issues with that at all.
I think for quite a while now, I think we're going through an epidemic of badly mastered records.
Yeah, I agree.
Trap, I don't know whether that distortion on the bass in a lot of the trap sounds is supposed to be like that, but I'm not having it personally. It just sounds unmastered to me,
Yeah. It's. I think it's just in the eye of the ear of as I say, the ear of the beholder. Mm-hmm. It's basically whatever the record company wants, and what they feel and what they need, what they feel is to what can make a hit record, because at the bottom line, at the end of the day, it's all about making money to them. They really don't care who you are as a producer, writer, artist. If it's something where they feel they can make money and push their agenda and their narrative, that's all that matters.